Most people lose the things they care about at the exact moment they try hardest to keep them. A career collapses at its highest point. A relationship breaks after years of effort. A reputation disappears after decades of success. And the strange thing is, it almost always happens right when someone is trying the hardest to hold on. At first, it looks like bad luck, bad timing, wrong circumstances. But if you watch carefully for long enough, you begin to notice a pattern. It happens too often to be coincidence. More than 2,000 years ago, a Chinese philosopher named Lao Tzu noticed the same pattern. He wrote it down in a short book called the Tao Te Ching. In chapter 9, he described it with a single idea. Fill the cup past its limit, and it will spill. At first, this sounds like simple advice. Don't be greedy. Don't push too hard. Know when to stop. But the text is not giving advice. It is describing a structure. Every system, every organization, every relationship, every career, every human body has a capacity, a threshold. Past that point, adding more does not improve the system. It begins to weaken it. The same force that once created success starts quietly working in reverse. What built the system begins to break it. Not because someone failed, not because someone deserves punishment, but because that is simply how systems work. The chapter offers 3 images: a cup filled past its limit, a blade sharpened past its edge, and a pendulum reaching the highest point of its swing. 3 different pictures, but they describe the same moment. The cup overflows, the blade cracks, the pendulum stops rising, and gravity begins to pull it back down. Every system has a peak, and the peak is not a place you can stay. It is a turning point. Think about the blade. Carefully sharpened, it becomes precise, reliable, powerful. But keep sharpening past the optimal edge, and the metal begins to fatigue. The blade weakens, the edge begins to collapse, and the same effort that once created sharpness now slowly destroys it. You can see the same pattern in people. Someone who is simply very good at their job. They reply quickly. They solve problems others avoid. When something breaks, everyone knows who to call. So naturally, more arrives. More projects, more responsibility, more pressure. For a while, this looks like success. The more they give, the more people depend on them. So they give more. Until something subtle changes. They stop controlling the work. The work starts controlling them. Weekends disappear. Evenings disappear. Saying no becomes impossible. What once looked like success quietly becomes a trap. And by the time this becomes visible, the cup is already full. They were too busy pouring to notice. More than 2,000 years ago, there was a man in China who understood this pattern with unusual clarity. His name was Fan Li. He served a king whose kingdom had just been crushed in war. The army was defeated, the king humiliated. The country looked like it had no future. Fan Li spent years quietly rebuilding, training armies, building alliances, waiting patiently. 10 years passed, and then the impossible happened. They won. The kingdom that had nearly disappeared rose again. The king offered Fan Li everything: land, titles, wealth beyond counting. And at the exact moment most people would hold on as tightly as possible, Fan Li walked away. No argument, no explanation. He crossed a lake, changed his name, and disappeared. Later, he became a merchant, and once again he became extremely wealthy. Within a few years, he had built a fortune. Then something unusual happened. He gave most of it away. Friends, neighbors, people around him. And then he started again. Years later, he became wealthy again. And once again, he gave it away. Over the course of his life, Fan Li built enormous wealth 3 different times, and 3 times he let it go. At first, this sounds irrational. Why would someone spend years building wealth only to give it away? But Fan Li was not careless with money. In fact, he was extremely skilled at making it. Each time he began again, the wealth returned. The reason he gave it away was not generosity, it was understanding. In ancient China, when a private citizen became extremely wealthy, he attracted attention. Officials began asking questions. Rulers became suspicious. Because great wealth could easily look like influence, and influence could look like power. Many fortunes in that world did not disappear slowly. They disappeared overnight, confiscated, investigated, destroyed. Fan Li understood this pattern, so whenever his wealth grew too large, he reduced it deliberately. He distributed it outward, shared it, released it, not because he disliked wealth, but because he understood how quickly wealth can become danger. Fan Li was not the only strategist in that victory. Another minister remained at court, a man named Wen Zhong, equally loyal, equally brilliant, equally responsible for the victory. He stayed. He believed that what he had sacrificed for the king would protect him. It didn't. Years later, the king's eyes changed when he looked at Wen Zhong. The same intelligence that had once saved the kingdom now looked like a threat. The man who had been indispensable during the crisis had become inconvenient in peace. Wen Zhong was ordered to take his own life. Fan Li had seen all of this coming, not because he was smarter, but because he could see the cup. Most people are standing too close to the water to see the rim. Most lives contain a cup like this, a position you should have left years ago, a relationship held together only by effort, an identity you built long ago that no longer fits who you have become. The instinct is always the same. Hold tighter, try harder, pour a little more. But the cup does not grow larger because you want it to. It simply fills, and then it spills. Fan Li saw the moment just before that, and acted. That is what Chapter 9 is really about. The cup has a capacity. The only question is when you notice it. Not after the spill, before. 2,500 years later, we still remember Fan Li. Not for what he built, but for the rare moment when he knew the cup was full and stopped pouring.